y'all, it's Valerie here from Pisces Mountain Farm. So my first little tip is I have a gardening journal, and what I like to do is somewhere in my book make a note of my last frost date and my first frost date. Not my predicted last frost date or my predicted first frost date, but the actual one. It helps me every year to predict if it's okay to plant out. I use that in combination with the weather forecast to help take an informed gamble on when to plant out. Now, so my second little tip is we might have these garden markers, and I want to take them one by one, and I'm going to write these on these tags. Let's do hi with this little black one, with this fatter one. See, it says garden marker. Let's do y'all. Okay, the next one is a good old Sharpie. Put hi again. I'm just picking random words. And then with this purple paint marker, so with the purple one I'm going to write garden. Okay, these are examples of some markers you may use to label your plants with. So this little tip will help you reuse those tags. And what you do is you take some 100% acetone fingernail polish remover. I've just got toilet paper here. Wet it down thoroughly. Just wet it down on your cloth. And then, in no particular order, clean as new. Last but not least, the paint marker. I just thought that little tip may be helpful if you're labeling your plants and make a mistake, or if you're like me and you try to reuse any plastic things you have. I will collect these up and wipe them down and reuse them. Lastly, I have this grape I dug up for a lady that's in one of the gardening groups I belong to on Facebook. And I was originally going to give her cuttings, but when I went out there was a root that was available. You have your main stalk for your grape. Well, a branch had grown up and over and attached to the ground and created roots. So I just clipped it off and dug it up. She was asking me for a detailed explanation of how to take care of that, and I want to put it on here because it's kind of hard to write out. So, when you receive your bare roots, when you get them, if they're still dormant, that means they look like this. None of their buds are starting to swell and turn green. Whenever you have a bare root, that rose or berry bush or tree that is not budded out yet, and you bring it home, whether it's from the big box store or you get it through the mail or however you get it, you need to keep it in the cold. Make sure the roots are covered. You know, you usually get them in covered roots. If it's something you've dug up like me, make sure your roots are covered and just put them outside until they break dormancy. Now, let's say they've been storing those bare root roses or berry bushes inside, and they've started to sprout. Well, what you're going to need to do is bring them home and put them in a pot and plant them until you are ready to plant them out in your garden. You will also, since they will be kept inside, you will need to harden them off when you're ready to put them in the garden. But the reason you plant them in the pot is because they've already sprouted. If you put them outside, it's going to kill back any growth that sprouted and possibly kill your plant. I've lost so many plants this way whenever I first started. So you bring it home, you put it in a pot, you water it, you put it in a window, And then when it's the appropriate time outside and it's staying, you know, fairly warm at night, you harden that plant off and then you put it in the ground. Another reason that you would need to put it in a pot as opposed to just letting it grow in the little plastic it comes in is that's usually sawdust that it's packed in, or cocoa coir or peat or something like that, and there are no nutrients in it. So it's going to quickly run out of nutrients and start to die. Plus it's wrapped in plastic and it can cause those roots to start to rot if it stays too wet and it doesn't get air. It's not meant to be kept in that indefinitely, but it does protect it from the elements. So like I said, when you get those plants home, I just set mine on my porch. I've got a table on my porch. I just set it out there until I'm ready to plant it. Now, if your ground is workable and you get a plant like this, you can go ahead and put it in the ground. If your ground's frozen or it's too cold out and you just don't want to be outside, or it's too wet, one of the above options will help. Okay, I hope these garden tips helped you out. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.